reigning Rookie of the Year, Cortez Shank. And Cortez, just started 95 minutes of the practice session. You start off with a scorpion pattern. Any reason why you chose to start on scorpion?
I struggled in this pattern the most last year, so I figured I'd just start with this year, get as many shots as I can while it's fresh, give me, hopefully good luck. Definitely feels like it's playing a little different than last year, so that's a good thing, because I didn't bowl great on it last year. So that's why I chose that first. I feel like the other two patterns are a little more understandable in the sense that you kind of know how they're going to play. I feel like this is going to be the question mark kind of pattern. I'm throwing an Optimum Idol right now, but I'm about to try something else. I'm going to go to an exotic gem that has a little bit of surface on it.
Okay, and the difference between those two balls would be for you?
One is, the Idol is a solid symmetrical ball, whereas the exotic gem's an ASM Pearl. But again, I touched a little surface. I like that ball with a little surface on it, so we'll see how it rolls. Not bad, not bad.
So, are you looking for the ball to slow down after it gets off the end of the pattern, or are you looking for the ball to slow down while it's still in the pattern?
Probably slow down in the pattern a little more. I think this pattern's gonna be kind of lower scoring overall still. I know last year I think it was the lowest scoring one. So, if I get a ball that kind of reads a little earlier, it's kind of rounder, I think it's gonna keep me in play a little more, allow me to actually, open my angles up a little more because it won't get offline, it won't go too far to the right and miss the spot. So that's kind of my game plan on this lane. A little up the lane, wasn't my greatest shot, but surprised it even actually held that far. So not a bad thing. I think that ball's have a chance on the fresh. We'll see.
All right, it's a 3-hour practice session today. How much of that 3 hours are you planning on using to go from pattern to pattern to pattern here? Probably 2 hours, 2.5. I'm gonna probably use the last bit of practice, shoot some spares, because they'll be at a point where they're kind of burnt up, so I don't know how realistic that'll be going into qualifying. So I'll probably use the last bit of practice for spares and just to stay sharp like that, and just make sure I feel comfortable with the line, my footwork feels all good and that kind of stuff. Making them look easier already on the Shark. Just a few minutes into the practice session, and why'd you choose Shark to start on?
I actually started on Cheetah.
Oh, you did start Cheetah.
But I threw a couple shots and they all struck with urethane, so I was like, okay, let's try something else for a little bit.
Okay. And how big of a change is it going from that short pattern with Cheetah to this long pattern with the Shark? Obviously, there's no chance of urethane, or is there?
No, I don't think so. I think their fronts hook too much.
Okay.
And you can't play it right, I think.
Good.
Yeah, I'm trying right now.
Yeah, so obviously, are you working on any type of progression so you have something to go once you get to the 15 games later on in the event?
Really just seeing what looks good right now, because they typically hook more in the fronts here. So trying to see what balls I can eliminate out of the bag completely and see what we need to drill for everything else. Yeah, bad rack.
So, the World Series of Bowling this year obviously a little bit different for you because you're coming in with that championship from Delaware. That's got to help loosen the arsenal up for this whole 45-game run.
Absolutely. The PTQ, not having to bowl PTQ, really got to relax for a couple days after the doubles event. So I didn't have to stress about any PTQs, had to worry about top 20 for that. So now just coming in, good mindset, hopefully make another run.
What do you do to help prevent your hand and stuff from getting, or your fingers actually, because you're obviously not using the thumb. Finger stuff, but 45 games in that short time period.
Yeah, so I had to go up 2 grip sizes from Delaware.
Okay.
And because I blistered a lot in Delaware, I was like, that can't happen again. I was like beveling grips out in Delaware. I came here, switched a lot of grips over, so now we're up 2 sizes. That one actually made the motion I was looking for, so looks like on Shark, got to gear down a little bit.
Odds are pretty good. We're going to see a lot of you at the World Series here in Detroit. You've had some good history in the center, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been kind of just okay. My first win on TV came here in 2016. I've made a couple other shows here, but I've always bowled well, just wasn't dominating, so hopefully I can change that this week. The last time we bowled the World Series here, I think, if I remember right, I think I made all the cuts, but didn't make any of the shows, and then finished, I don't know, somewhere 10th or so in the World Championships. So looking to improve on that this week. Hopefully have another World Series like I did last year.
Yeah, we got you on the Scorpion right now. We're in the practice session, and how many balls you got in the rack right now, and what are you looking for out of it?
I got 3 different balls up there now. I had to look. I got a Venom Shock, Hyper Venom, and a Crimson Jackal. So,
which one doesn't hook as much as the rest of them?
They're all similar in hook for me right now on this pattern. They all just do different things. Obviously, the Venom Shock is what it is. The Hyper Venom's a little bit cleaner than that. The Crimson is close to as clean as the Hyper Venom. It's just a little more rolly down lane because of the core, the bigger core.
Well, let's take a look. Let's have you throw one with each of them.
Okay. Trusty Venom Shock.
How old is it? I mean, that line's been around for how long now?
Just a couple of weeks ago, that ball turned 10 years old.
Wow.
So, I think it was actually while we were at the Masters that ball turned 10.
Okay. And that ball made it to victory lane with you quite a few times.
Quite a few times. That one went a little light there, but that's good to see, you know, just the difference between the 2 balls. You definitely saw that one was a little bit cleaner than the Venom Shock. So it's always nice to have balls that are close, but, you know, in shape, but they hook in different spots of the lane. So now we'll go with the Crimson. Like I said, this one should be similar to the Hyper Venom, but it should be a little more round because it's a asymmetric core and bigger core. I'm saving them, Phil. I'm saving them for the week.
Now, are you going to hit a couple more pairs across the house on the same pattern, or will you hit different patterns?
Now, I know obviously down by the desk, lanes hook a little bit more. The high end normally is, I think, a little bit cleaner through the fronts. So I typically don't run across the house when we practice. This one I'm going to be bowling on 3 pairs, but if we're bowling on one pattern, I typically bowl on like 1 pair, and I might go to the left of that pair and the right of that pair just to follow different people, not really worried about topography so much. Just trying to follow some different people and see how they're breaking the lanes down and see, you know, whatever balls I was throwing on that pair, how are they on those other pairs where guys were breaking them down in a different part of the lane, or maybe throwing urethane where the people in my pair weren't, whatever it may be. And typically I'm bowling wherever I can get closest to the paddock. So that way my stuff's right there in case I want to go get a ball, and when I'm done, it's right there.
That's a new one? New hustle?
No.
Old one?
Old one, I think.
That's not what we like to see, huh?
So starting off there in the Scorpion pattern, without the time on the tour, does it take some adjustment to see how these patterns break down again on tour? Or with the competition you have back there in Europe, can you kind of put apples to apples and oranges to oranges?
Well, the really hardest thing on tour is to keep up with the transition, because they change so quick. So what we see today in practice is more or less like to get a little overview on what type of balls looks okay and like where to play or not to play, but the transition is the really hard part. And myself, with the lower type of rev rate, I really need to throw the right stuff to make it go through the pins, and can't really tell after practice, but you can get a little overview what type of stuff that looks okay.
Yeah, you're on the Scorpion Lanes. Let's take a peek at another shot here from you. What ball are you throwing right now?
DNA coil. So I'm going to try to see if we can throw this one a little slower than the 2A10 and see if it picks up.
So I guess that's not really the one. I think we need something that picks up a little earlier than that, like it comes behind it, the 2-8-10, I slow down a little bit, and it still won't go through the pin. So we need something that grabs the lane a little bit more, I think.
All right. So we got here, trying to think of, you got that old guy next to you.
Yeah, I get a lot of good advice from him. And
I was going to say, that's a heck of a brain to be able to pick on the same pair when you see it. I mean, the experience under that man's belt right there, the things he's seen.
we mostly give each other shit about how old we are. And unfortunately, like that shot, the ball looked like it was getting off a hand from an old guy. So we need to find something that makes our ball look younger than we actually are.
Well, you got something else on the rack now you want to try? Or?
Yeah, I'm going to get something. We'll see what we can do. So this is the new Idol. I've thrown it for a couple of games, and it quickly became one of my favorites. Let's see if this symmetrical shape can give us the little extra we need to knock down all 10. It did strike, but it kind of looked old anyway. I'm not totally convinced yet.
Okay.
But anyway, this scorpion pattern has this little OB, little out of bounds. So you kind of need to keep it in front of you from the fresh, and then it's all about how deep we're gonna go. But the gutter is not in play on this one, so you need to keep it in front of you. And yeah, like Barney there, like you throw the idle, and it kind of in the track or just to the left of the track. That's where I think we need to start on this pattern.
How much? It's a 3-hour practice session. I don't think you're going to be here all 3 hours.
Again, I'm too old to be here for the 3 hours. I'm going to have a little look on all 3 patterns. Then I'm normally walking around to see a little bit more, get some more info from the guys that throws it, like different types of different places of the center. I mean, we have a 54-lane bay here at Thunderbowl, so they can play a lot of different. We're right in front of the counter here. That's normally the place where the lanes hooks earliest and picks up the earliest. So it could be that the lower and the higher hand actually has a little different shape.
That's tossing some authority right there, Cortez. Back with you after a little while, you moved down here on the Cheetah pattern.
Yep.
And that's not the same purple ball I just saw you throw right before I turned the camera on, is it?
It might have been. Yeah, it was different angle, different line. But yeah, I mean, we're on Cheetah, so the angles are either gonna be urethane, a little straighter to the outside, or kind of some steep angles at the gutter with some earlier, smoother stuff. So the idle's a little earlier, a little smoother. Urethane looks pretty good here, so I'm just trying to test the large reactive now and see what those kind of do.
Is it kind of just, where does that judgment come into play, whether it's still staying in urethane or jumping out on the resin in the Cheetah pattern? Can you make that determination just off the practice session, or is it going to have to wait until the competition?
They'll have to wait to competition, because practice is only, I don't know, half the equation. They always play a little different when, we actually bowl for competition. You got spare shots going down the lane, all that kind of stuff. So I usually go to reactive when the fronts kind of blow up a little more. The urethane ball is a little too early. I can't really move in, shape urethane. It's not going to really shape down lane. So that's when I go to the reactive balls. So yeah.
We just saw the reactive. You mind throwing one with urethane just so the fans can get a different peek at you here?
For sure.
Definitely a huge difference in ball motion.
Oh yeah, that's a lot earlier. It goes a lot more forward down lane, can't shape it quite as much. Still got there to a strike, but at this point in practice, probably stretching the urethane ball out. The reactive balls will probably start looking better, equivalent to actual competition.
Martin Larson, he's a little taller than me. You have to move the camera up.
Yeah. Hanging it down. He was just sort of on the scorpion, now he's got him over here on the shark.
And, Martin, when he first came over to tour, had one of the higher rev rates, and now
You're a little too nice now.
It's a little bit lower than most of the tour, so we've got to be really strategic on how he attacks the patterns and making sure he has the right balls and the right angles. But Shark, not going to require a big angle, so it's going to be more about shot making. I think they're going to hook in the front, and they're going to be a little difficult as they transition. So
some of the higher rev rate players might have some transition.
I think the rev rate players the transition will be easier for them because they can keep chasing the left. Someone like Martin, it'll be a little bit more challenging because his rev rate's a little lower. So we'll see if he can stay in the right slot. See that? Did you see that flying messenger that just came out? Flying messenger, right?
Yeah. If you speed up the
camera, that was a messenger on the bucket. But yeah, that's some of the things that Martin will run into, where you'll see some of the earlier hook, and then ball laboring down lane where your two-handers or higher rev rate guys can create a little bit more right. You know, Martin's going to have to do it with his shot making, so we'll see what happens.
Here's a question for you as a ball rep. I mean, all the international players in the field this week, because it is
much better shot.
Does that change how you're ball repping here?
No. I mean, I know quite a bit of the guys that are here, and it's great to see. Obviously, we've got some good representation from Japan, and also Singapore. Nicola Pongolini from Italy's here. Mick Stamp is back over here for Denmark. You know, Matthias Ankerdal. And obviously, we got a real strong Swedish contingent here, you know, with Martin and Callaway, well, the Swedish supermodel, Carl. You know, so it's going to be fun for me because I know a lot of these guys pretty well, and hopefully they'll bowl well. You know, another guy that we haven't seen in a while, Karsten Hansen from Denmark, PBA champion. He's over. I think Thomas Larson's finger is healthy, so. It should be an interesting World Series. It should be really good.
Looking forward to it. Thanks for the time.
Me too. Thanks, bud.
Jacob, trying on the Cheetah pattern here as we catch you in practice, and you had a good run last year. You made the show on Cheetah, and it always seems to be one of your favorite patterns. I'm surprised to see corner pin standing on you right now. I'm surprised.
I had last couple years have been pretty good on Cheetah. Ended up making the show the last 2 years. Last year I had the little mishap with the shoes and I fouled twice, but I had a really good block to get to end up getting to the show. So hopefully this year can be the same scenario.
So for Cheetah, for you, it's probably urethane, and more urethane. How many different balls do you have for urethanes you got drilled?
Oh, I got a couple, and then I just got a couple more drilled coming up. So just a little bit more options in case if I need a little bit more surface, less surface, if I need to play straighter, if I need to hook it. So I'm just making sure that I'm prepared this year.
Softer than it was on last year's Cheetah. Is that just because of the different playing surface here in Detroit?
Yeah, and one thing I've been working on a lot, I mean, I just came off a week where I was, you know, sick and I was hurt, but I think the one thing I've been trying to work on mainly is keeping my ball speed even a touch slower. For the first couple weeks, I've been trying to throw hard and I haven't been able to strike as much. I can't get corners out, so I'm finally able to kind of stay slow with my ball speed, and I think it paid off. It worked really well on the TV show yesterday, so I think I'm just going to try to stick with keeping the ball speed slow and making sure that I can stay underneath it.
We'll give it out.
Give me another one.
Yeah, we'll give you another one.
Because you was watching.
It's always the camera guy's fault.
It's always the camera guy's fault. You want to come back?
It's practice, you know, here with Sibo, Carlton Chambers, and Carlton. Saw you on TV at the LBC shootout back in Portland. So it's been a busy PBA regional season for you. It's got to be pretty awesome to be part of the World Series of Bowling here in your home center at Thunderbowl.
That's awesome, man. It's awesome to have all the guys here. A lot of these guys are my friends. Some of the nicest people I've ever been around. It's just awesome, man. Let's go see what we can do and, you know, do the best we can. I'm not a top 100 guy or anything. Just taking time off work to bowl, and we go back to work on the 29th.
All right, so, hey, I see you got the Cheetah pattern out here. You got a couple of balls you'll be kind of going between. Is it tough to find the right piece of equipment when you don't see these patterns all the time like these full-time tour guys do?
Somewhat, yes, since I don't see it all the time. These guys got pretty much of an idea. I'm kind of fishing. I threw a couple of urethanes. They looked okay. I drilled a archetype hybrid. This 55 by 5 by 40, and it actually looks pretty good when I throw it right. So
well, let's take a look. Why don't you take that one and throw it here?
I only missed by 7. Only missed by 7.
So 45 games coming up over the next 6 days, and you're a part-time player. You hit a lot of regionals on the weekends and stuff. How do you get yourself mentally and physically prepared for that amount of games in a short time?
Listen to some good music, some good, calm, easy music. A lot of Bob James. Read a couple of books. Spend some time with my lady, watch some TV. Just try to relax and wind down, especially since I'm not working right now. So just kind of take it by day, hour by hour. Just smile and we keep it moving.
I know there's going to be a lot of people rooting for you and saw you at the LPC show last year. I'm one of them, so.
I hope so, and like I said, this is my last run before I turn 50 in September. I'm not going to be taking too much more time off of work to bowl. Make good money there, so I let these guys, they do it for a living. I let them do it for a living. I do it because I just like to.
Yeah.
And I still have, I feel I can win, so at least get close.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, good luck to you this week, and I appreciate you taking the time with us.
Thanks, man. Anytime. Anything for you, buddy.